Administrative employees in the school environment have many responsibilities and a variety of tasks. Often the workload may seem insurmountable, but somehow you get the job done. Today we want to make you aware of your safety responsibilities. You see, safety won't take any time. It won't add to your workload. In fact, it might even make your job easier. This short orientation is simply a review of some accident prevention techniques for safety awareness to help you remain accident-free in the school environment. Your school district has safety guidelines, policies, and procedures, so be sure you know and follow these directives. This video isn't designed to circumvent your school safety program, but to give you a greater understanding about your individual safety responsibility. The topics included are those areas that cause the majority of injuries throughout the nation's school systems. Let's begin by making some basic statements. Overwhelmingly, 85 to 98% of all accidents in the workplace, including schools, are a result of unsafe acts. Unsafe acts can be described as not paying attention to what you're doing, getting busy and forgetting about safety, taking shortcuts, violating safety and operating procedures. It's not that employees deliberately create unsafe acts. It's something that happens because their safety awareness may be on a lower priority than your work schedules or the demands of your job and 10,000 other priorities. How do you prevent unsafe acts? Follow rules and make a conscious effort to think safety when you do anything. Sounds simple? Well, it's even simpler to accomplish. Safety engineers are trained to recognize hazards. The more experience they have, the easier it gets. It becomes second nature. They can't even go to a restaurant without checking to see if the building is sprinklered, where the exits and fire extinguishers are located, or even what type of footwear the waiters and waitresses are wearing. They think safety all the time, and it's a natural habit. The point we're trying to make is, if you think about safety, it will occur. Think about safety when you're dressing for work. How about the shoes you wear to work? Can they easily cause tripping hazards? Do you buckle your seatbelt on the way to work? Do you watch where you walk to avoid slips and falls in the parking lot, or hold the handrail when walking up and down stairs? Let's talk about something that happens to many people, young and old: back injuries. First, we'll state that you can get a backache from sneezing, sitting incorrectly, lifting the wrong way, and hundreds of other ways. Sometimes it's a minor ache, sometimes it's very painful. Certainly you understand how the back works. The discs separate the vertebra and act as shock absorbers. The flexibility for bending, stretching, twisting is a combination of discs, ligaments, and muscles. Should a disc be damaged, the fluid can leak out, causing the vertebra to push closer together, often pinching nerves. Damaged discs can cause serious back problems. How do you protect your back? Exercise, weight control, and lifting properly. You've heard it many times. Bend your legs, not your back. When you bend your legs, you're keeping the discs lined correctly between the vertebrae. This displaces the pressure on the discs over the entire disc. When you bend your back, you're putting tremendous pressure on one part of the disc. It doesn't take long to wear out or damage a disc. Bending your legs when lifting is an old age program, and it is still valid in today's society. However, there are hundreds of lifting requirements where you can't always bend your legs. Think of a mechanic installing a battery in a vehicle. No way for him to bend here, except when lifting the battery off the ground. Take a second and use whatever support you can find to protect those discs and ligaments in your back. The mechanic uses leg power to support the back. No matter what lifting requirements you may have, think of how the discs are lined between the vertebra and lift in such a manner as to protect the discs. Don't lift and stretch. Don't lift and twist. Use good posture when sitting at your desk or home, and especially watching television. The best program for back injury prevention is simply thinking about those discs and ligaments, then take the action necessary to prevent disc and ligament damage. Back injuries are preventable. Safety is nothing more than a little training and a lot of common sense. Let's quickly review some potential physical hazards contributing to accidents and injuries. The first rule is, don't assume everything is safe. Awareness is the key. Things change. What was safe yesterday may not be safe today. You need to be a safety inspector every day. Electrical hazards appear frequently. We become complacent because we use electricity every day and rarely have accidents. Electrical appliances in your home and at work have some degree of shock protection through double insulation or grounding wire. If you have an electrical appliance or tool, check the manufacturer's label for double insulation. This indicates the appliance is double insulated for shock protection. This type of appliance or tool will have only a 2-wire plug which supplies the electrical current. Should the label not say double insulation, then the equipment should be grounded with a 3-wire plug. If it's not double insulated or does not have this 3-prong plug, there may not be any protection from the electrical shock in case of a short or malfunction. The most common failure of this 3-prong plug is the ground prong gets broken or damaged. You've seen people trying to plug a 3-prong plug into a 2-prong receptacle. You have to bend the ground prong for it to fit. This means the safety feature of the appliance or tool is inoperative. Another thing to look for is the UL or Underwriter's Laboratory label or other accredited testing labs label. This certifies the part or apparatus has been tested and found free of potential electrical hazards. Television sets, toasters, irons, hair dryers, fans, clock, everything electrical. We mention the testing lab seal of approval because many imports and even American manufacturers sell electrical appliances, tools, and parts that have not been inspected or tested, which could lead to personal injury, fire, or other accidents. Just because someone sells it doesn't mean it's free of defects. Naturally, any broken, frayed, cracked, cut electrical wires or cords must be replaced when spotted. You cannot safely repair electrical cords. They must be replaced. Check all the electrical equipment you use at home and work. Never use electrical equipment near damp or wet surfaces, including sweaty hands. The double insulation or ground wire may not protect you in damp or wet environments. Okay, let's move on to machine guarding. In your everyday work environment, guarding of moving machinery may not be your big problem. The consideration here is for you to be aware of machine and equipment that pose pinching, crushing, mashing, or other hazards to hands, fingers, or other parts of the body. How about oscillating fans? If you can stick your finger in the blade, it requires guarding to prevent the exposure. Look around your work area. See anything else that should be guarded? Fire prevention is everyone's responsibility, particularly in a school environment. Housekeeping, of course, is the best prevention. Never use octopus plugs to increase the amount of electrical appliances plugged into a receptacle. No evacuation routes in case of emergencies, and where fire extinguishers are located and how to use them. If you haven't had the opportunity to use a fire extinguisher, you should make an effort to obtain the training. It looks simple, and it is, but in case of a fire, hands-on experience will help you through the crisis. Remember the word PASS, P-A-S-S. Pull the pin, aim the nozzle, squeeze the handle, and sweep from side to side to extinguish the fire. Another important point is to stand about 8 to 10 feet from the fire before squeezing the handle. If you activate the extinguisher close to the fire, the pressure of the extinguisher can spread the fire. Stand back, then move in on the base of the fire. Don't try to be a hero. Life safety is of paramount importance. If you can't extinguish the fire safely without danger to yourself, get out and leave the firefighting to the professionals. Always call the fire department immediately, even for small fires, because small fires can quickly become major blazes. One last word on fire prevention. Take a look at your storage room. Is it neat, clean, organized, with no oily rags or cans of flammable or combustible liquids? Of course it is, but we just wanted to mention it. Next we come to slip and falls. The major cause of slip and falls is not watching where you're walking. Other combinations of slip and fall accidents include broken tile, uneven floor surfaces, slippery floor surfaces, torn carpets, and many, many more. The tile, floor, and carpets can't make you slip and fall if you're aware of the hazard and watch where you walk. Of course, repairs should be made, but the point is, it's really up to you to prevent accidents. Be aware. No one else can do it. It's your responsibility. It's like not using a chair or box to reach something positioned on a shelf or cabinet. Use the proper step stool or ladder. When using ladders, never stand on the top 2 steps of a ladder. Don't lean your body past the outside rails of any ladder. Common sense items. Remember electrical safety? Never use a metal or aluminum ladder to change light bulbs or work near electrical equipment. When using file cabinets, be sure to close the door when you're finished with that particular file. Oftentimes, 2 or more cabinets can be bolted together to prevent them from falling. Make sure telephone lines, electrical cords don't create tripping hazards. There are perhaps more hazards in the home than at work. The same awareness and preventative action can significantly reduce accidents. The chemicals you use at home can be hazardous to your health. Take a look at some of the labels. Always read and follow directions printed on chemical labels. At work, you can be exposed to vapors and fumes from such chemicals as felt-tip pens, magic markers, whiteout, duplicating ink, copier toner, and of course the many cleaners you use on a daily basis. It pays to know the hazard, then take the recommended action to protect your health. The school administrator is required to maintain material safety data sheets of all chemicals used in the workplace. These safety data sheets are supplied by the chemical manufacturer and provide technical information about the chemical or hazardous substance you're using. All chemicals must be labeled. There is a good labeling system available, which will be mentioned at the end of this program. Labeling affords greater awareness of the materials used, and it certainly helps emergency action crews such as the fire department in cases of emergency. There are probably thousands of things that we couldn't cover in this short program, but we've tried to highlight some of the important points and make you more aware of safety and how to reduce and prevent accidents. Safety is an individual responsibility. All the rules, procedures, policies, personal protective equipment, and inspections can't do it. It takes a safety attitude and accepting the responsibility to work and act safely. Remember, safety is something you can take home with you. Thank you.